Hello everybody, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're gonna have a very nice story against the storm review. This is the perfectly chaotic city builder. Well, this isn't the game of the year article, but in the video, so I'm writing. From its earliest iteration in early access to its full release now, Against the Storm become one of my time favorites. There are so many points where the concepts of roguelike city builder could wear out. It evades them all with the endless surprising deeps. It has become my first choice of what to play when I feel just like a playing game, and despite the time I've poured into it, I'm still without joyful frustration learning new things about it. The premise sees you establishing a series of settlements across the map. You attempt blasting as long as it takes each settlement to either become successful or the ominous scored queen to lose her patience and deem the settlement lost. You win a settlement when you have a certain number of reputation points, each point gained removing the impatience one, while impatience gains slowly over the time, and rapidly picked up when the settlers leave or die. Means you don't get struck in the settlement that just won't take. Either way, might tend to be resolved within an hour or two, just long enough for a single evening session. Its elevator pitch is an enchanting one, a city builder without any slong there, where you don't wear out your tried and tested strategies, where each session is new and exciting as one before. It's a delight to learn that Against the Storm is really all those things. But after spending the better part of the year, it feels almost deceptive to say this is what Against the Storm is. There is so much more to it, offering endless depth of complexity if you want it. In the beginning, it feels like your only job is to try to survive in the face of chaos. You gain reputation by filling the orders, completing glade events, or keeping your settlers happy. But these all require resources that there is simply no guarantee you have or have the ability to craft. Complicated resource pipelines are new to the city builders, of course, but randomness plays an enormous factor in Against the Storm. Particularly its journey from easy to learn, difficult master, and other else. So, say I want to fill my settlers' leisure needs. I need alley and building to drink in it. I need the blueprint for that building, which will roll randomly from a pool of available blueprints. I might be able to play blue elite player trader if they're offering it, and if enough money or trade goods, but otherwise I need another building to manufacture it. One of the vessels to hold the ale, and the either growing or roots to brew. Both grain and roots can be collected in the wild, but I'm lucky I've rolled a farm or herb garden to continuously grow on my own. This sounds like utter chaos, and it can be. In a plenty of settlements, I might never fill this pipeline, or might have everything in the place to manufacture ale, but nowhere to drink it. Or maybe a bottleneck of planks preventing me from building the tavern. What changes with time and experience is how you're playing around this. If I have the means of producing ale, but nowhere to drink it, am I able to package it and set it up? No. Alright, no, what? At the point at the embark, there is a great deal of farmable soil. Should I start with a caravan that includes humans who love farming and brewing? It's a thrill to learn how to move from struggling to survive, to synergizing with the unique strength to each settlement, like when you start off it, one that offers you free coins and the start of each year as the part of unique buff, for example, and then capitalize on that by rolling a corner store that makes trades come more often. In this settlement, at least, it doesn't matter if your ale industry isn't up and running, because your economically is flowing freely. This is helped by the fact that as you spend more time with the Against the Storm, there is a permanent progression aspect, so despite all this time I'm talking about the ale, trying to set up the pipeline, and won't always look the same. As you unlock upgrades that give you a new starting blueprints or the ability to pick the new ember bounces, you get more choices earlier on the session. It's another place where I'd be charmed by Against the Storm balance, because the early game isn't unpleasant and grindy, it's just simpler, and you unlock the ability to make more choices, and you start waiting to engage with more complexity. There are times when you won't want to give your settlers exactly what they want, or when high impatience levels are a good thing, But that's not playstyle you are going to start off with. In fact, it's typically a word map modifier that pushes me into extreming with those playtests to start with. Take a settlement when you can fulfill any royal orders, so that go on as a source of reputation. Then what? Well, I have to keep my settlers happy, first and foremost, but that can be awfully slowing going to start with. Meanwhile, the other source of reputation is from the glade events, but unlocking glades also raises hostility, which it turns lower settlers unhappiest during the storms. I wasn't gaining any blueprints until I worked it out though, and witnessing that challenge and others like left me with the skills to push into harder and harder and harder levels. This is because the same sense of progression of the game becoming more complex with experience is mimicked around and across the world map. Each settlement its own standalone thing, but as you get further from the smoldering city and closer to closing in Broken Seal, you intend end goal, the minimum difficulty setting up the settlements rises, and the amount of resources you can embark with the violence. It generously if that you can always set your own reward level. You can always play at the whether difficulty you like, low or high, by embarking with the particular zones. But the pacing of the challenge is incredibly rewarding. I'm not a fan of randoms for its own sake. It actively puts me off when I can feel the game and only want me to grab it with my time and attention. The reason I'm so caught up in Against the Storm is the random elements, and the information it gives you ahead of the time are in perfect balance. Before I embark, I know what the strengths and weakness of the biome I'm entering are, and once I arrive, I know what specific bounces and difficulties are going to shape my long-term plan. The wild swings of fate all happen without the space. The best example of its impact of hostility and the storms, you don't know what your seasonal buffs are before you embark, but do you know before you start building anything? If you know that the level 3 hostility, all my settlers without the complex food have a chance of dying. I can prioritize my food industries long before that would have been a nasty surprise in a few years. There can be things that can be planned around or capitalized, and they are also the cause of many exciting high adrenaline tactical scrambles when my plans haven't pulled through. Well, I failed the settlement recently and I know exactly what mistakes I made, so there is a special room for improvement and upgrading. It's a pleasure to play something where every detail takes you back to the heart of what game excels at. Every layer of Against the Storm reveals something more compelling than the layer above it. When the layer stands as something already deeply interesting in its own right, the impression I have of its own, while equally positive, is so different to that one I had a year ago. As much as Against the Storm has changed throughout the time early access, that more do with what I've learned alongside it than any significant updates. It is one of the most novel and well-crafted city builders I ever played, that one adapts to its players as much as you adapt to it. Surely the results of both well-laid plan and some excellent role against the chaos. Thank you for watching, don't forget to comment and subscribe. Peace.